Hello once again, all my fellow Fix-It employees. Welcome back to another episode of How to Satisfactory 1.0, my little Let's Play series where I also do my best to try to teach new players the ins and outs of Fix-It engineering. This, my friends, is the last How to Satisfactory video of 2024. We are about to start a brand new year, and I have lots of things planned for the channel and for Satisfactory, so don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Now, in the last episode, I showed you how the tractor and vehicle transportation worked, as well as we set up a route for coal and the start of the biggest project yet in this series. What's going to be a multi-episode project, building a new coal power facility on the edge of the biggest waterfalls on the map. Not only will this bring us loads of power and get us away from biomass burners, but I think it will look really cool too, or at least it will when we're done with it. Today, we're only going to be setting up the basics and get the power turned on. So, without further ado, let's get started. So first up, we want to come over here to our hub terminal, and then from there, under Tier 3, the first one here is coal power. We want to unlock this milestone, which is going to give us the coal power generators, water extractors, all of the pipeline stuff, a fluid buffer, and then we can actually scan for coal, though we can already do that because we've already mined some. Let's go ahead and select that milestone, and for unlocking that, and to unlock it, we are going to need 500 cable, 50 rotors, and 150 reinforced arm plates. So let's go ahead and get everything we're going to need from our storage bins. The only thing we won't have in our storage bins is going to be those rotors, because we have those being made up here on this top level. So we'll go ahead and grab as many of those as we can. Back to the hub again. And we'll throw everything in there by holding down Control and clicking the objects. And then you guys know what to do. We're gonna hit that big red button. And off the parts go to the space station above us. I swear that animation actually never gets old. I still love it to this day. Alright, so now that we've unlocked coal power, we actually need to build all the stuff for it. So let's go ahead and get a to-do list of the parts we're going to need to build everything. Head into our build menu. First thing we're going to do is go into production. We are going to need 3 water extractors total. And then under power, you're going to find the new coal power generators right there. For that, we're going to need 8 of those. We're also going to need some copper sheeting so we can build the pipelines, reinforced plates so we can build all of our conveyor belts, and of course concrete and iron plates to build all of the foundations we're going to need. Now, the biggest component to build all the coal power generators and water extractors we need is, once again, those rotors, which we need to get from up here, which currently we don't have enough made to do all of these. However, that's okay, because we may not build every single one of these coal power generators right now. We don't necessarily need them all. We really only need about 4. But if we're going to go ahead and build them, we might as well just build all 8. But I'm sure we'll be back over here at our little starter factory before we're done, so we can let the rotors slide for the time being. Alright, so now if you think you have everything you're going to need, then it's time to head over to the waterfall truck station, over to kind of the northwest there. Once you're over here, what we're going to do is locate the platform we want to use to start moving upwards with. So it's this corner right here where the ramp comes up. We want to go over this way 1. And then back this one. So it's the one kind of right here next to where the edge of the cliff kind of juts out just a little bit, right behind where our truck station is right here. We're going to grab a 4-meter foundation. We're again going to hit R to change our build mode to vertical, and we're going to build 6 of these upwards. Then we'll place a ladder at the top, bring that down so we have a way to get up there. Once on top of the platform, we're going to copy that again, turn that into a 1 meter, and make sure zoop is on, and we're going to zoop this out 6 platforms. Now we have a total of 7 up here on this. Next thing we're going to do, again with the 1 meter foundation, and just start zooping that towards the cliff side there. Come over here to the western edge towards the waterfalls, do the same thing all the way towards the cliffs. Then we're just going to fill in the entire platform here. Now it's a good time to cut down this tree that's right in our way here. And we can come over here to the other side and grab this one as well. And since we're over here on the western edge by the waterfalls, we want to point our attention towards the cliff side here. And we want to go 1 over from the edge to that platform right there. And let's turn that into a 4 meter now. Vertical build mode. We're going to build 4 of these upwards. Change to the 2 meter. Put 1 of those on top. And then last is a 1 meter on top of that. Go ahead and put another ladder there so we can climb up there. Now on top of this one, we are going to then again grab our 1 meter foundation. And we're going to change the zoop mode. And we're going to zoop 5 of these out for a total of 6 platforms here. Come down here to the western edge. We're going to go 2 in. And 2 out that way. And from there, just go ahead and zoop towards the cliffs. And then start filling in this platform here. We can go ahead and get rid of these pesky trees up here as well. Oh yeah, those make good burning material. You will have a little bit of grass showing through the platforms right here, but that's okay. This isn't actually going to be the main platform. This is going to be a logistics layer down here. So what I'm essentially doing here is I'm making layers up on the cliff sides so that we can eventually build some sort of interesting structure over here. I don't really know what we're going to do with it just yet. I have some ideas, but this is definitely needed just to make sure that we can get up here and so we can get over to the waterfalls over there, as well as to bring the coal up from there. It may not look like much now, but eventually it will, so just stay with me. So next we need to make our way across the first waterfall over here to that outcrop of rocks right there. We're going to build another platform on top of that. So the way we'll do this is we'll come up here to the farthest foundation west right here we have, and then go 1 more to the north right here. Copy that. Make sure zoop is on. And we're going to zoop 9 across right here. Now we've built ourselves a bridge going across the waterfall right below us. Make sure you don't fall off here. From the last foundation here on the rocks, what we're going to do now is we're going to go 2 to the south. Then we're going to go 4 to the west, like so. And then come down here and we're going to go another 3 to the north. And another 4 over this way to connect it to where we just got on, or kind of where we started right there. And then go ahead and fill that in, covering up this Caterium node right here. We may or may not use this node later on. I haven't decided yet whether we need it. Alright, so now this platform will be the very beginning, the start of our dam that is going to be going across the first huge waterfall right there that we have. So next we need to build a platform down here on just right above the water. That way we can set our co-generators and our water extractors on. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here to the edge right about here. Let's go ahead and grab a foundation, hit E to turn it into a 4 meter, hold down control, get it right here on the corner of the rocks right here, right there. And from there, we want to do 23 foundations across. Yeah, I know, that's a lot of foundations. So we just placed 10. Now we need another 10, which is as far as out we can go. Come down here to the end, and we're going to go another 3 over. And then that is 23 foundations across. Now, this needs to stretch towards the edge of the waterfall right there. So it should be about 8. I'm going to start right here. I could start over here, but we're going to run into the rocks right there. So I'm going to start right here. And let's do 7 foundations out this way. Right there. That's 7. Let's come up here. We should be like right on the edge of the rocks. That's right where I want it right there. Now let's go all the way back over to the other side where we started. So just stretch those out. 20 foundations should put us right into the edge of the rock right here on the other side of the waterfall. Alright, so now we just need to fill all of this platform in. Just grab our 4 meters and just start filling in all of the space. Okay, so now it's time to start placing down our co-generators and our water extractors. So I mentioned this in a previous video, but the way that coal power works, for those who don't know, is that we burn coal to heat up water, which is then turned to steam, and that turns turbines which produce electricity. That's the simple basic version of it, which is why to run the co-generators we need both the coal and water. Essentially, what we're doing is we're setting up a more advanced assembler. We're taking 2 materials and we're getting 1 product. In this case, power is our product. This is also the first time that we are playing with pipes, and well, pipes can be a little complicated. I'll explain more about how this particular design that I'm using works once I get the machines in place, because I think it will make a lot more sense once you see the entire design. So let's get started. So first we're going to come down here to the eastern edge of our platform, and we're going to count 3 over. So 1, 2, and 3. And then on this third one right here, in between these 2 foundations, the 3rd and the 4th foundation, let's go into our build menu. Let's go down to logistics, and we are going to look for pipeline support. Go ahead and grab that, and we're going to place that right on the edge of the foundations. Next, back into our build menu, let's grab the pipeline mark 1, and we're just going to build this out just a little bit. We'll say to the 2nd foundation here. Now that we have the first pipeline in, what we can do at this point is snap the water extractor to the pipe. So we'll go down here once again into production. We'll grab our water extractor, and we're going to make sure it is lined up, and then if we hold down control, we can see here now it's snapping to the pipeline, and we can kind of move it back and forth right here. Let's put it kind of right in here. This looks like a fine place right here. And this is the water extractor. This will take all the water that we have here, and it will pump it up into the pipes to wherever we need it here. So now we'll just copy the pipe right there and connect it to the water extractor. And that's our first water extractor. Let's take a look at the settings of the water extractor real quick here. So it uses 20 megawatts of power, and then it will pump 120 meters per minute of water. That's at its normal clock speed, which we're going to leave it at. We're not going to overclock this or anything like that. The 120 meters per minute, that is actually important. So if we take a look at the actual pipes by going into our build menu, back down to logistics, and then hover over the pipeline, on the right hand side you will see that a pipe can contain up to 300 meters of fluid per minute. A Mark II pipeline will double that, but it's going to be a while before we actually get to Mark II pipes, so this is all we have to work with. We'll come back to these numbers shortly, but now let's go ahead and get down our 2nd and 3rd water extractors. Our 2nd water extractor is going to go right about the middle of this platform. It's going between the 12th and the 13th foundation. So we know that this is the 3rd and the 4th. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So right here, this is going to be in the middle. We'll do the same thing we did down there. We can copy the pipeline support, put it right here in front of us, right on the edge, like so. Copy the pipeline. Once again, we'll bring it up to the 2nd foundation right here. And then copy the water extractor. Turn it so we're facing the pipeline here. Hold down control. Now we want to place it just a little far back from the actual platforms we have, because we want to make sure that we can actually get the pipeline to connect to it. Something of note about the pipes is that it does have different build modes. If you cycle through R, you can see we have, the first one was auto, auto 2D, noodle, and horizontal to vertical. That one is actually very important. That's one I use quite a bit. But to place down our water extractors, I'm just going to go back to auto. Now there's just one more water extractor to place. So I'll go ahead and copy that pipeline support right there, and we're going to count over to the 21st foundation. So we know this is the 13th. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Right here. So if this is 23 across, it's going to basically be 2 back from the western side. So right here, I'll place my pipeline support, place my pipeline, and then place down my water extractor, connecting that to the rest of the pipe. Now you'll notice if we look at the 2nd and 3rd extractors that we placed down, on the pipeline going up from the water extractor, you'll see those little rings right there on the pipe. Now, if we look at the first one we placed down, you'll see that one doesn't have it. That's because these two are just slightly more further out than what the 3rd one is. We can go ahead and fix that now, or we can just leave it as it is. What those rings are is once the water starts pumping through the pipes, you're going to see these rings start kind of moving back and forth. And what that's doing, that's essentially showing you kind of think of it like a flow meter. If I'm not mistaken, I think the more that the rings are moving, then the faster your flow rate is through the actual pumps. So if these aren't moving hardly at all, like, well, they pretty much are right now because we don't have the water extractors on, then it's not really pumping. So you want to see these things moving pretty well. All right, so the next piece of the puzzle is the co-generators themselves. So let's go ahead and go into our build menu, go to power, and grab our first co-power generator. Remember, we're going to try to place about 8 of these, though you don't need 8 right this moment. We're going to try to get them all done, and I'll show you exactly how to place them. So we'll grab our first one, and it's going to go from our middle water extractor right here. We're going to go to the left first, find the second foundation from the pipe. So 1, 2. So it's going to be this foundation right here in front of me. Let me hit H to lock that into place. And we're going to place the back of this, or I guess that should be the front with the power outlet on it. And then the inputs will be towards the waterfalls themselves. So we're going to place the edge of this side here, front or back. I'm not sure which one's which, to be honest. But anyway, this side right here with the power is going to be placed on one foundation back from the edge. And then make sure it's good and centered on that foundation. That looks good. So we'll place our first one down here. And then we're going to take and place the next one in the middle between 2 foundations next to that one. So right there. Make sure it's lined up by checking your guidelines. That one's good. And then the next one will be in the center of a single foundation right here. So we'll line that up once again. There. And our fourth and last one right here on this side, again, will be in between 2 foundations next to our last one. So right there. There we go. And that's 4 co-generators there. Now, we want to place our other 4 on the other side. These are going to be a little different, though. So I'll go ahead and copy that one. We'll come over here to this side, the right-hand side of the middle water extractor. We're going to do essentially the same thing, except we're going to start a little different on this side. Instead of doing 2 foundations over, we're going to do 1.5. So 1.5. So this one's going to go in between these 2 foundations here. So we'll line these up, make sure everything's good. I'll lock that into place so I can get everything just kind of lined up here just right. I don't know why I'm not getting a guideline for to match it up with the co-generators on the left-hand side there, but I'm just not. But this looks correct. I can tell by right there in the front. So our white box is just a little outside of there, and so is the base of that, but it looks like it's like right on the edge. So that's exactly where we want that. So I'll place that one down. And then we're going to do essentially the same thing we did on the other side over there. However, like I said, we're just starting a little different. Instead of going 2 foundations over, we're going 1.5. So the next one, which I don't have the rotors for, we'll have to head back and get more rotors, is going to go in the middle of a single foundation right here. So let me go get some more rotors real quick. While we're over here, now is a great time to go ahead and fill up our biomass, since we did get some wood and leaves and stuff while we were over there. We'll throw all of that into our container here to be made into biofuel. And that way we'll keep the lights on with the biomass burners just a little bit longer while we finish this. Grab another 100 rotors, that's not too shabby. And then head back over to the waterfalls. Alright, back over here to our co-generators. I've got all the rotors I'm going to need now. So let's go ahead and place down the next one here on the right hand side. So like I was saying, that's going to go right in the center of the single foundation right here. So we'll line that up. There we go. And our next one will go in the middle between 2 foundations. And then one more in a single foundation. Right there. So now that we have all 8 of our co-generators in, and we have 3 water extractors, 1 on each side, 1 in the middle. We're going to start with the 1 in the middle here. Go into our build menu. Grab a pipeline junction under logistics right there. And we're going to make sure that that is right here in the middle. So I'll put H to lock that into place. And then from here, we want to move it back just a little bit. So not quite in the center of the foundations in front of our co-generators, but just a little bit, not quite to the edge either. Maybe right there. I think that'll probably be good. Let's do it right there. Connect our pipe from there up to that pipeline junction. And then we're going to run this all the way down past the co-generators here on the east side. Making sure that is straight. Go as far as you can with it. Let's go to... I'll take mine to right there in front of the third generator right here. And then I should be able to bring this one out and connect it down this way. So if we move our mouse wheel, scroll our mouse wheel, we can move the actual pipeline junction, kind of curve it basically. And let's hit H to lock that in place because I need to make sure that that is straight. It is not, so I'll push it back one more. There we go, that's right. And then we're going to line it up with the water extractor down here, like so. And then connect that up to the pipe coming out of this water extractor. So now we have that water extractor connected to the pipeline. We have the middle one. Let's go all the way down here to the west-hand side and do the same thing with that one. So we'll connect it to the middle pipeline junction. Bring it down here to the west as far as we can. I'm going to go in between the last two co-generators right here, right about there. And then one more pipeline. We'll bring this all the way down. We'll turn it using our mouse wheel. Get it right where we want it. That looks good. Hit H just to make sure. Yep, that's good. And then connect that up. So now we have all three of the water extractors connected together. The pipe runs up this way, connects in the middle, but all of them are set together. So the next thing we're going to do is go into our build menu, grab another pipeline junction, and we're going to just come down here from each co-generator, hold down control in front of the input going into that, line that up, and we're going to place one of these in front of each co-generator, like so. Once we finish the west-hand side here, let's connect all of those up to the co-generators with more pipe, like that. Then we're going to come down here to the east side, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Hold control, line it up to the input on the co-generator, and place down our junction. And then connect the co-generators to the pipeline junction. Alright, so now let's discuss why we're setting up our co-generators and water extractors in this particular way and order. So this is widely regarded as the best and most balanced co-generator setup that you can have. And that is because this is kind of the magic numbers, if you will. So we have 3 water extractors and 8 co-generators. Each water extractor can produce 120 meters per minute of water. And yes, I do know that's cubic meters, not just meters, but it's semantics. Just bear with me. You guys understand what I'm saying. Now let's look at the co-generator, which we haven't actually looked at yet. So a co-generator produces 75 megawatts of power as long as it's not overclocked, and it uses 45 meters of water. And it doesn't say here, but a non-overclocked co-generator actually needs 15 co per minute. Right now, we're only concerned about the water, though, to explain all of this. So, 45 per minute is how much each of these co-generators needs. And we have 8 co-generators. So, let's do the math. We have 45 times 8. We need 360 meters of water per minute in order to make sure every single one of our co-generators is functioning correctly. So you're probably thinking, okay, well, why don't we just take one single water extractor and just overclock it a little bit to get all the water that we need to run all 8 of these and just split it down between them all? Well, let's discuss why that actually won't work. So we know we need 360 meters of water, right? Let's open up our build menu. Let's look at the pipeline. A Mark I pipeline can only handle 300 meters of fluid per minute. Like I said, we need 360. We can't actually put 360 meters of fluid per minute into a single pipeline. You also can't put the water extractors right next to each other and have them all connect up because, again, we won't be able to get all of that water as it should through a single pipe. This is why we place the water extractor on each side as well as the middle. So we have one in the middle that's sending the 120 up through the middle, and of course it splits right there. And the rest of the water for everything is going to be coming from each side so that it all meets in the middle. Because by the time the water gets to here, then we only have 60 going this way and 60 going this way. And then the rest of it's going to be fed from this way. So 120 plus the 60 from this way. And we have 180. Now you can place your water extractors anywhere you want, honestly. It doesn't really matter where you place the water extractors as long as you have the pipe connecting the way we have it here. You have to balance the water out among the pipes in order to get it to work correctly and efficiently. This is the magic setup for co-generators right here. Doing it this way, as long as you provide it with enough water and enough coal, you won't have any issues. If you have any questions about this or anything like that that maybe I forgot to explain, be sure to ask them in the comments down below the video. I'll be happy to try to answer the best of my abilities. Alright, now speaking of coal, we need to get that into our co-generators before we can actually start producing any electricity at all. So all of our pipes are running down through here on the ground floor, and you'll notice they're kind of in the way of being able to get the coal into our co-generators by a conveyor belt. I mean, they're kind of in the way. The actually way we're going to do this is we're going to lift up the coal and then we're going to feed it downward into our generator's inputs. And we're going to do that by using conveyor lifts. So I'm going to go ahead and place our first one here on that. And then we'll turn it so the input is going that way. It goes down and into the co-generator. I'm going to add one of these to every single one of our co-generators down through here. And now all we have to do is get the coal from way over there where we're bringing it in by truck all the way up here, down and into these lifts. For this part of the build, we're going to start down here where our coal actually is coming in at, right here with our storage containers. First thing we're going to do is go up here to the corner at the end by the waterfalls. And we're going to find the middle point right here. Actually, I guess right here would be a great spot. Let's go ahead and grab a floor hole and look up. And we're going to place that right in the middle edge of that foundation right above us, right there. Let's then do a conveyor lift coming down, and we'll turn it so that it is facing towards our storage bins. Make sure to hit R to reverse it because this is going to be an input. All the coal is going to be coming out of the storage bins around into this conveyor lift going up. So we want it to be facing that direction. Now I want to come back here behind our storage containers. We want to go to the second to the last one over here. And we want to take and put a merger in front of all of these except for this one right here. So let me go ahead and grab our merger. And we want the output to be facing towards the waterfalls like this. And we'll put one of these in front of each of the storage containers just like this. So we have 4 mergers coming out of 4 of the storage containers, with our first one down here without one, because we're just going to go ahead and take and put a Mark II conveyor belt from that one into our first merger. And then we're going to go ahead and connect all the rest of our storage containers to the mergers with the conveyor belts like this. And from our last merger, we'll take a conveyor belt. We're going to put it out. Let's make sure we have straight build mode on. And we're going to push it straight into that conveyor lift going up right there. Alright, so all the coal we have now been collecting, it's going to be hitting the mergers all the way down through here, merging into one line, and then all that coal is going to go up to the next level. So let's head up to that next level now. Come down here, find where our conveyor hole is right here on the floor, and then we want to go down here to the next level up, and we're going to do kind of the same thing. We are going to go ahead and grab another conveyor lift hole. And from here, we know that we have that in the middle section right there. So let's go right to the middle of that foundation right above us right here. Right there. Grab a conveyor lift Mark II. We're going to bring that down to the floor like so. And again, making sure it is an input. We'll pop a conveyor lift on top of the conveyor hole we already had here, coming up. And then we'll connect a Mark II conveyor belt going between the 2 conveyor lifts like so. Now you can see our coal is coming up here, going to the next conveyor lift, going up to our 3rd level now. So let's head up to that one. Alright, now with the conveyor lift hole here on our top level, let's grab the lift. We'll put the top on that, and we're going to turn it so it's going towards the cliffside here, like that. Then connect our Mark II belt, and we're going to bring that out along the edge, all the way down this way. We'll go to right about here, seems fine. And then we'll turn this, and we want to have it going towards where our bridge is right here. But now we're not going to go down all the way through the middle of the bridge. I want to leave enough room where we can have 2 belts coming across the bridge right here. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to go to the right hand side of the middle. So I can actually do this really easy here. I will put this right here, kind of coming down this way. There's our middle of our bridge. All right, so we'll bring it to right here, right before the bridge actually starts along this edge, like that. And then we'll come down here, and I'm going to turn it so we know I'm in the middle right here. And I'm going to go down the left-hand side of the middle if I'm facing this direction, like that. So we have it turned coming out of the conveyor lift, coming along down this way. Now we have it turned going where it's about to go across the bridge. So let's go ahead and place a conveyor belt all the way to where the bridge actually starts, right here on the very edge, right there. And then we'll run it across. Now I don't think we're going to be able to get this all the way across the bridge in one fell swoop. Nope, I don't think it'll do it. Nah, it's too long. So let's go to about where the middle of the bridge is. Right about here, and then we'll continue it along to the end of the other side here, right there. Alright, so now we need to get that coal down to the same level that our conveyor lifts going into our coal generators are on. And the way we're going to do that is we know we need it to be right here on this edge going up that way. All we got to do is bring that over here. So I'm going to grab one of our conveyor poles. I'm going to attach it right here on the edge, line it up right there. So you can see here it's right on the edge, right in the corner, right there, lined up with the line with the vents right there. We're going to bring a conveyor belt from where we left off over here, where it comes off the bridge. We need to turn it so it's going that direction there. So I'm going to put it right there, and then we'll have it turned this way, and then connect to that conveyor pole right there. Alright, so far so good. Let's drop down here. Let's grab a 4-meter foundation, and we're going to place that right over top of the pipes right here. There we go. Then we're going to copy that. Let's make a 1-meter foundation. We're going to attach it to the end right here. It's a little tricky. There we go. Make sure zoop mode is on. And then we're going to run this all the way down through here in front of our co-generators. Then we're going to take a conveyor lift. We're going to put it right here on the end, going up that way. So right there. And then we're just going to lift that up until it matches with our belt coming off of there. It's about 3 sections up. So if we're counting upwards, it's 1, 2, 3. That should be right there. Yep, perfect. All right, we'll connect to that. And now all we need to do is put our splitters in front of each of these conveyor lifts down through here. Easy enough to do. We'll go ahead and make sure that it is coming down that way. Make sure it's all lined up. Place our first one. And we'll just do this in front of all of the conveyor lifts here. We'll have to extend our walkway down through here just a little bit. So we'll run that down there. And the easiest way to do this is to start from the end and move backwards. So I'll start down here on the very end. We'll get that in there like that. That's perfect. Just walk backwards, placing one in front of each one of them as we go. Once you have all your splitters in, then it's just connecting the belts. So again, we're going to start down here on the farthest end, connect the belt from the splitter to the lift, and splitter to splitter, and then do that to every single one of these down through here. Last but not least, connect the conveyor lift, bringing our coal down to our first splitter right here. And that is going to bring all of our coal down through here. Now, we are producing 120 coal per minute from our miner down there doing our coal. Each of these coal generators is going to burn 15 coal per minute. And again, we have 8 of those. So 15 times 8 is 120. So this should work out equally. 120 coal divided by 8, 15 into each one. That's a good number. There's only one issue with this, and that's the fact that we're taking some of the coal that we're making from the miner, some of that 120, And we're actually using that for fuel to fuel our trucks. So we're not exactly getting the full 120 being sent up here to our co-generators. At least not yet anyway. So what I propose is to go ahead and kick off one of their co-generators, probably the one down here on the very last end. Let's just go ahead and disconnect that one. And we're going to leave that one off for the time being until we get our Logistics Mark III, where we can then up our production of coal, and we can send more coal across through these belts, since these belts can only do 120 per minute anyway. Now we're just going to dismantle the 1 meter foundations we placed above our pipes here. I'll do that by hitting G. And now we have a filter for foundations. Hold down Control, and you can see here we're only going to get the 1 meter foundations right there. If we move over anything else, we're not going to get it. Well, maybe that up there, but that's okay. We can dismantle that too. And don't forget the 4 meter down here, the first one we placed. And I've got some sort of weird glitch where the coal is coming down, and you can see it kind of coming down here in the very bottom of our conveyor lift, which is kind of weird. Now, we're not quite done yet. None of our co-generators are actually connected to power lines, so they're not doing anything. Neither is our water extractors right now. So I'm going to do the same thing I always do. I'm going to connect a line coming from the co-generator, and we're going to place a pole right in front of where that line is. So right here, like that. I'm just going to line these up all the way down through here and then connect them all to each other. All right, there's all my power poles. Then we'll just connect all our power poles to one another down through here, like so. And then we just need to connect up our water extractors as well. So I'll run one from here all the way across through here. There's where we need to be. So that looks like right about there. Then connect to there. Come down here to the middle extractor. I will we'll grab a power pole first. Hold it over top of the line going in between those two. Click once, and then we can place the pole where we want, which is right there. And then connect from there to there. And our last extractor down here, this one's going to be an easy enough one to place right there and to there. Now we still don't have power, and that's because we still need to connect all of this to the main grid, which is down there where our truck station is. I'll just run this up to the corner of that foundation right there. And then we'll just run this along the edge of our foundations. So I have now ran my power cable all the way around the edge of all of the platforms. You can just barely kind of see the lines coming around through there. I just followed the edge of all the foundations, and then down, and then across, and I've got it to right here right now. So the next thing to do is just connect it to over here, which is going to connect it to the main power coming from our starter base over there, our starter factory. So once we do this, I'm going to connect there to there. And then our power immediately will go out. So you're probably asking yourself, why is it that we just added another 600 megawatts of power, and yet as soon as we connect these two together, the power goes out? That should be more than enough power to run everything, right? So why is it going off? The answer to that question is that it takes power to make power. So everything that we built over there actually needs power. Like the water extractors have to be able to have power to pump the water into the co-generators before the co-generators can even boot up and produce more power. And our biomass burners way over there just aren't producing enough to get those things started. So let's take that power line out right there. Then we're going to come back up here where our co-generators are, find ourselves one of these power poles, and we can see here that the maximum consumption is 60 megawatts. So we need to be able to produce 60 megawatts in order to get this thing started. So what we need to do is we need to put up a backup power system in here just to get the water extractors going in case of any kind of emergency power outage. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to go into power. Let's grab a couple of biomass burners. 2 should be plenty enough for the 3 water extractors that we have. I'll place these 2 guys right down here next to each other. I'll connect them together using a power pole like that, right in between them. And then I'll bring this down to the edge, which we will then connect to the rest of our power grid right here. Then we just need to give it a little bit of fuel. I have 131 wood. I will right click on that We will split that into 65 and 66. I'll throw part of that into this one, the other half in this one, and then turn the power on. And that should be enough to get our water extractors going. You can see it spinning up right there. And there you can see we started to get a little bit of smoke coming out of the stacks down through here. They will go off and on as the water and coal start to fill them up. But so far so good. We're starting to get power. We can head back down here now to our main platform and reconnect our cables. And now we should have power. There we go. We got a main capacity of 780 megawatts of power now. I would say that is mission accomplished. So we still have a few more things to do to make this actually look like an actual power plant, but that's all I have time for today, and I want to be able to unlock a few more things milestone-wise before we can do more over here. And remember, I did say that this would be a multi-episode build. The main thing, though, is that we actually got co-power up and running now, so we no longer have to worry about the biomass birders. Now that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope I've entertained you guys a little bit over the course of this video, and with any luck for the new Fix-It pioneers out there, you've learned some useful techniques. A huge shout out to all of my Patreon members listed on the screen right now. Thank you for your continued support. If you aren't a patron and would like to be, the link is in the video description below. I usually provide downloadable save files for every episode of the How to Satisfactory series, and I have a few more exclusive things planned for the coming year in 2025 just for you guys. If you're enjoying the series, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you aren't already, click the subscribe button so that you won't miss any future videos. For now though, thanks everybody, wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and I'll see you next time.